Hey everybody. If you are new to the channel, I am Blind Hussy and I do reselling part-time. I had previously promised a by the numbers for the Lelo I. I had purchased a lot of them at an auction and I wanted to kind of go into the numbers once I had sold them all so that people would have an idea of what the costs associated with selling them were, what actual profit I made, etc. So I figured we would do that today. First, please let me say thank you if you're watching. That's fantastic. I still partly believe that my sister may be the only one that watches me. And I don't actually mean watch. She may listen to me while she does other things. But anyway, no, really, thank you for anyone who actually watches my videos. It is a learning process, and so that's what I'm doing. You are watching me learn. We are back on my cell phone because I did not like the way that the video turned out last time that I did with a video editor on the computer. I'm going to keep working at it and try to find a new program that I like, that I want to invest in. But for right now, we're going to do this on my phone, I think, for a little while longer. I like those videos a little tiny bit better. So we will see. There's pros and cons, right? All right, so on to my numbers. If you've watched my other videos, you may have seen where I talked about the Lelos. So if you are unfamiliar, the Lelo I is a personal massager, and it came up for auction. And I thought, okay, well, they had a group of them. They had an entire case, and I thought, well, I'll jump in if it's the right price. So the Lelo is actually sold for $115. That was the auction cost. Then the auction fee for the buyer's premium, if you will, was 15%, which is $17.25. And then there's an additional $5 charge, and I think this was through the site that the auction was held. I think that site charged a $5 fee on any auctions of a certain amount or whatever. So in total, that total amount ends up being $137.25. So that's $115 plus the 15%, which is $17.25, plus the $5, and that takes us to $137.25. So I kept out one of the Lelos, primarily because anytime that you're selling something and you're selling it in bulk, you really need to be able to answer questions. So I pulled it out. People will laugh, but basically road tested it. Not the way one would imagine, but like held it against skin, checked it underwater, things like that, just to see, is it doing what it's claiming it's going to do? Does it do all the things, right, that it says on the website, and basically what you're paying for when you, because they have it comes with a registration card and everything, so it's kind of a big deal. So, anyway, so I kept one out. That meant that there was initially a case lot of 10. I kept one out for demo purposes. That leaves me 9. So I took the $137.25. We divided that by 9 because that's how many I have left. That comes out to equaling $15.25 basically per Lelo. So I have to make more than $15.25 to make it worth it. And, we would really like it if that number was high, but, any number higher than $15.25 is what we're aiming for. All All right, so now I sold 2 on eBay, okay? And I actually ended up selling those for less than I got other places. So the 2 I sold on eBay sold for $25 and $30. Those were actually my 2 lowest sales. And I think that if I had realized in the beginning, I would have put them on the other site or sites where they sold better. Because that was, you know, we don't want that. So anyway, so 1 sold for 25, 1 sold for 30. 2 of them sold for 50 each. 2 of them sold for 60 each, and 3 of them sold for 63 each. So going quickly again, that's 25, 30, 50, 50, 60, 60, 63, 63, and 63. That equals $464. Okay, now what I did here was a little janky. I assumed a 20% for the service, like the rest of them sold through Poshmark. Poshmark's fee is 20%. I went ahead and assumed that even the first 2 were sold with that 20% charge, because when I did the math for the little tiny bit of extra packaging that I used, I didn't just send these in a USPS box. I actually padded them a little bit. So to send them in the padding, that padding and those things would have come to the same approximate cost in general as it did when I measured it out as 20% for Poshmark fees. So just to say, I assumed that it was 20% across the board. That would include my supplies, etc. So 20%, and at 20% of $464 is $92.80. So you take the $464 and you subtract the $92.80, because those are we'll call them Poshmark fees, but those are your platform fees. That leaves me with $371.20. So then we take the $371.20 and we subtract the $137.25. Oh, I just realized I made a typo there. Okay, so we take the $137.25 off, and that equals $233.95. So we take the $233.95 and we divide that by 9 to find out what the individual profit would have been. So the profit per item came out to $25.99 per item. So if we paid total $15.25 and we made in net profit afterwards of $25.99, you know, I'm not going to call that awful. Like, that's, you know, it would be great to do much better. But I mean, honestly, these guys sold consistently. I think if I had had another 100 of them, I could have easily sold them for the $60 mark. Online at the retail shop, they sell for anywhere from like $120 to $170. It looks like sometimes they have sales, or they'll do a buy one, give a friend one, or something like that. But that's not consistent. And when I got this batch, they actually didn't have any on the Lelo page. So you had to get them from other retailers, and the other retailers were charging like $150 and $170 for them. So I could have all day and all night gotten $60, $65 for them. I wouldn't personally go higher than that. I think they would have sold, but they would have sat longer. At this rate, I was really selling 1 or 2 of these a week. They were doing pretty well, moving out the door, which is what tells me that I would have easily sold more at that particular rate. That was a good rate to sell them at. So anyway, so I'm going to go over it one last time. quickly for anyone who didn't get it. Well, you know, in ideal land, I would have like a whiteboard, but I'm not, of course, in the office right now. I'm upstairs, so I don't have my whiteboard handy or an easy way to show you. But I will try to attach a photo of where I have this all written out so that you can see it as well at the very end. So, all right, so the Lelos, there were 10 in the case. I purchased one for $115. There was a 15% buyer's premium. That was $17.25. That's what that ends up coming to. There was a $5 website fee for making the purchase. So that ends up coming to, in total, $137.25. So $137.25. We divided that by 9 because I had 10 in the case lot. I kept one aside. I'm actually going to sell that locally, probably to a friend who watched me do a lot of the demo, like checked it out and everything while I was taking notes because I'm that nerdy. So anyway, so we divided by 9. There were 10 in the case. We divided by 9. We had 1 left off to the side. I still have the 1. They ended up coming to $15.25 a piece. They sold for $25, $30, $50, $50, $60, $60, $63, $63, and $63. So that comes to, in total, $464. And then we called a 20% platform fee because most of them sold on Poshmark. Looks like 7 of them sold on Poshmark. So 20% fee. And that came to $92.80. That's what 20% of 464 is. So you take the 464, you subtract the 92.80 out of that. You're left with $371.20. You take the $371.20 and you subtract your $137.25. And then you are left with $230. Well, my paper says $233.95. My math is a little tiny bit off there because there was a typo. The $233.95, you divide that by 9 because I had 9 of the Lelos to find out what your net profit was for each Lelo. And that was $25.99. So that is a pretty good profit. I mean, I'm not going to complain about a $25.99 profit for each one. I only had to list it one time. So I was able to list the Lelo. I had 1 set of pictures, all of the cases were closed. They were brand new, sealed in their box. So there wasn't even a lot of pictures to take. I did use 2 stock images at the end of my pictures. I used my pictures first and then I added their stock pictures at the end because I did not initially want to take any of the Lelos out of the box. But then I realized that the original auctioneer, when they did the sale, they had actually opened the box that I ended up keeping, and they opened the box and then they were showing it themselves. So I didn't want to sell that as sealed brand new in the box when it obviously wasn't, which is one of the reasons that it was chosen as my demo. So, but anyway, so $25.99 was our net profit on the 9 Lelos that we sold. And I have 1 more to sell that I can factor into that, but I'm not expecting to get the $63. I will let you know if it does sell for that, but I don't think it's going to, because it is a demo and opened up. And so I will disclose what I did with it, which wasn't anything like you're thinking. So anyway, so there's no delicate way to talk about that, is there? Like, you can't